So essentially we were all born unlimited. And when I say that, I actually mean we were all born unlimited. And in this video, I want to explain to you in what way life makes you limited. How are you shaped by life in a way that doesn't allow you to be that unlimited self that you came into the world as? And then I'm going to allow you to create the awareness around how you can unprogram, right, and reprogram yourself to connect back to that unlimited version of yourself. And then when you get to that point, what's next? How can you then go on to materialize the life that you want? Let's get started. So ultimately, when I say you come into the world unlimited, what I really mean by that is you come into the world and you, at this point, don't really believe anything. Like, you've not learned any lessons, you've not experienced anything to teach you that this means that, so you're unlimited. You're starting in a position where you genuinely then, in that moment, can be shaped in any way that you want. But we don't have this choice because we have parents, we're unconscious up until about the age of 7, and by that point, life, our parents, what we've grew up around, has shaped the way that we see the world, has shaped the way that we see ourselves. And how does this actually happen? Well, ultimately, we go through experiences, and the experiences that we go through are the things that shape us. Most importantly, it's the experiences that were really, really emotional. And it doesn't need to be like hugely traumatic experiences, it's just all of the experiences that you've been through that have had emotion tied to it. I want to give you an example. Imagine today, you have a fear of public speaking. Well, when you were 2 or 3 years old, if you were to put on a stage, you didn't really have any fear, you didn't know what that was. But imagine when you've went through life, you've had an experience of speaking on a stage, led to being judged or led to being embarrassed. Your subconscious mind then associates that negative emotion with that experience. So what happens as an adult, you're then presented with the opportunity to speak on a stage, and then you get this irrational fear. You start to feel this anxiety inside of you, right? That fear is you not feeling safe. You feeling like there's danger. Logically, we know there's no danger. Logically, you're going to go on that stage, you're not going to die. Your life is not threatened. The reason why you're feeling that irrational fear and anxiety inside of you is a thing called emotional resonance. Ultimately, because you had an experience where your subconscious mind associated a negative emotion with speaking out, being exposed, being on a stage, you're emotionally resonating with the present moment. So that stored emotion that's stored in your subconscious mind, stored in your nervous system, is resonating emotionally with the present reality that you have. And that's why you right now feel anxious about doing something that logically you don't actually have any real reason to have fear over doing. So in this position that you're in today, when you have this irrational fear, this doubt that shows up, how can you then position yourself to remove this? Well, this is why with my clients, I use hypnosis. Hypnosis is a very, very powerful tool that can help my clients remove emotional charge from memories that shaped them. Because if you never experienced that in your life, if you never went through that experience and felt that negative emotion, you would never have learned that limitation. You would have never been shaped in a way to protect yourself from that thing. And what happens in your day-to-day life is when you're emotionally resonating, your nervous system predicts threat. Your thinking brain kicks in and you realize that you're in a negative state. And before you know it, when you're in this negative state, your brain is a receiver. So you start to receive this information that aligns with the state that you're in. And before you know it, all you can focus on is every reason why things are going to go wrong. And then that self-talk, that inner dialogue turns into just avoid this thing. So with hypnosis, one of the most powerful tools that I use with my clients is age regression and somatic processing and memory reconsolidation. They're the kind of 3 main things that I will use in hypnosis to help my clients. And ultimately what it allows them to do, I want to give this analogy. Imagine there's a younger version of you that went through that experience, didn't feel safe, felt danger, felt fear, felt anxiety. Well, imagine you could go back in time and you could be with that younger self. You could give them the hindsight, the awareness that you have today. You can let them feel safe and never experience that experience in a negatively emotional way. Well, ultimately you would never have been shaped. And that's what, with hypnosis, you can do. And in this very relaxed state, your brain can't really distinguish between vivid imagination and reality. So as you're emotionally experiencing this, changing this memory, and feeling safe in that memory, you disassociate that negative emotion to that experience, and you associate a positive emotion with that. So you can almost unlearn what you learned, and then position yourself today as someone that's not going to any more emotionally resonate with that present tense. So you'll notice, my clients will notice that resistance that was there, the anxiety, the fear, the resistance, it's no longer there in the moment because that memory has changed. When you're at this position, when you've removed that resistance, you remove that negative emotionally charged experience from your nervous system, your subconscious mind. What do you do now? Well, this is why I've got a success system with clients. Hypnosis is just one little tool that I use. The full success system that I have with clients is designed to help them anchor the vision, the direction, the life that they want, tie in a specific identity, the version of them that has that reality, to that vision, and allow them to completely start emulating and aligning themselves today with the version of them that has that success. The way they think, the way they feel, the way they behave, their routine, the people they're around, their environment, their whole life gets shaped to align with the new identity. So when they start behaving like the new version of them, it's rewarded. And they create this feedback loop. So the new behavior feels good, and then they feel good, so they do the new behavior. It turns into this permanent feedback loop where they just consistently show up as a new version of them. So that's the first kind of part of the success system, is getting clear in the vision, getting clear in the identity, and really aligning yourself with that version of you. And then the second part of the success system is creating awareness around anything in your life today that could hold you back. So we start off with a mind audit. One of the things that we do is audit my clients' minds, their current belief system, the way they perceive the world. And we start to understand what is going on inside their mind right now, and what's maybe not going to allow them to materialize the life that they want. Because if they've got incongruent beliefs with the life that they want, they're not going to really be able to see life in the way they need to see it in order to move forward. They're going to have resistance. For example, if they believe that money's hard to make, or they believe that they're not worth making the money, they're going to look for evidence of that in their life, and they're going to be held back by the reality that's in front of them. Because ultimately, reality for the most part is subjective. It's created by what you perceive, right? And how you perceive things is based on what you believe inside your mind. So that's why we do the mind audit. Then we audit their life. We audit their dopamine sources. We audit all these things and become aware of every single thing that could create resistance between them and materializing the life that they want. And then the third part is the subconscious reprogramming. So this is where the hypnosis comes back in, but instead of removing emotional charges, I use hypnosis tracks, state anchor tracks, to align their state every single day. So my clients will finish the day in a state that aligns with the version of them that already has it. And ultimately, this state alignment protocol allows them to anchor the right state and be in the right state all the time. I believe that you can be in the right state pretty much all the fucking time. If you have the right tools to anchor the right state, and you put the state before the action, all the actions you need to take to materialize the life that you want are going to be done with a lot less resistance, as long as you're in the right state. So that's why the step 3 is there, so my clients can anchor the right state. There's a journal protocol at night time to create clarity for the next day, but also to reflect on the day that they've just had. And ultimately, this awareness, day to day, allows them to consciously align their state with the version of them that has it, so that flowing through their day is easy, rather than having this resistance, feeling this doubt, feeling the fear. Well, the version of you that has success doesn't feel that doubt and fear. Well, imagine you had something to anchor the state of that version of you, but done in a way where it's actually creating a new subconscious baseline. Well, that's what step 3 in the success system is. Step 4, essentially putting everything that we spoke about, the vision, the identity, the actions, removing all of the things in their life that would hold them back, is putting everything they would need to do, all of the aligned actions that align with the vision, into a system, into a weekly system that's going to allow them to show up every single day. And this system is created as well in alignment with their core values. It's stacked in alignment with their core values, so that when they show up, they're just charged by the life that's aligned with what they truly desire. They're not pushing, they're not grinding, they're not creating resistance in their life by being misaligned. All of that's sorted before we lock it into the action, so when it's time to lay out everything that needs done, it's easy for them. And for most people, that's the hardest part. And essentially, that's what you would then do. When you get to the point of removing the resistance that was created by life, you lock into a system like I have, and then the next step is materializing the life that you want, ultimately. And none of this really gets done without the awareness. Ultimately, what you need to then do is the inner work, the internal questioning. But sometimes it's hard to do that. Sometimes you've got this thing called the ego that protects you. It doesn't allow you to actually challenge what you've always known. And that's why I come in. That's where the awareness that you gain while you're working with someone like me, asking you the right questions, that's why that awareness is so powerful. Because it's likely awareness that you couldn't gain on your own. And if you are someone that's going to go and do this on your own, amazing. I just want to prompt you with that, and I would say advise you, go and ask yourself the questions, right? And that awareness is going to give you the control to actually start realigning with the life that you actually want. Because if you feel like in life right now, you have resistance, it's this weird kind of invisible resistance. You start doing well in business and then you procrastinate. You start doing well in business and then you start avoiding opportunities, self-sabotaging. That's only happening because you have subconscious programs that hold you back. We all have this internal thermostat of what's normal and what's safe. Well, imagine you could use something to remove the ceiling and allow yourself to become unlimited. Well, the work that I do helps you do that. So if you look in the link in the bio, you click that, you have a chance to speak to me one-to-one, create some clarity, give yourself the opportunity to actually put some of the things that I spoke about today into action, because ultimately, knowledge isn't power. Implementation is power.